Senator Risa Ontiveros, primary prayer.
Sa ngalan ng Ama at ng Anak, ng Espiritu Santo. Amen. O Panginoon, sa linggong ito, kung kailan ginunita namin ang kaarawan ni Inang Maria, sa linggong ito kung kailan sinimulan namin muli ang taunang mahalagang pagsiyasat namin sa magiging pambansang budget ng aming bayan, nagpapasalamat kaming muli sa lubos na pagmamahal na lagi naming tinatanggap mula sa inyo at sa pamamagitan ni Inang Maria mula sa pinakadakilang ina sa kasaysayan ng sangkatauhan. At hinihingi po namin ang inyong patuloy na paggabay habang humahanap kami ng lahat ng paraan na ang kaperahan na nasa kamay ng pamahalaan ay magamit sa higit na mabuting paraan alang-alang sa aming mga kababayang humaharap pa rin sa krisis pangkalusugan at sa krisis pangkabuhayan. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng inyong ibinibigay na biyaya, Panginoon, at patuloy naming aasahan ang inyong pagsama sa amin sa aming buhay at sa aming pagtatrabaho sa araw-araw. Ang lahat ng panalangin ito ay sinasambit namin sa dakilang pangalan ng inyong anak na si Jesus. Amen. Sa ngalan ng Ama at ng Anak, ng Espiritu Santo. Amen.
Secretary, will please call the roll.
Roll call of senators. Angara.
Present.
Inay.
Present.
Cayetano. De Lima. De La Rosa. Rilon. Gatchalian. Go.
Present.
Gordon.
Present.
Ontiveros.
Present.
Lacson. Lapid. Marcos. Pacquiao. Pangilinan. Pimentel III. Ho.
Present.
Recto. Revilla.
Present.
Tolentino. Villanueva.
Present.
Villar.
Ma'am, yes. Okay.
Zubiri.
Present. Present.
To the third.
Present. With 4 senators physically present and 17 senators virtually present, for a total of 21, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. So, the leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the journals of the 7th session, Monday, September 7th, 2020, and the 8th session, Tuesday, September 8th, 2020, and consider them as approved. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the journal is approved.
Mr. President, I move to proceed with the reference of business.
The secretary will proceed with the reference of business. Are you seeking the floor, Senator De La Rosa? All right. Just exercising. Are you looking for Senator Tolentino? Busy in action. No,
I'm here, Mr. President. I'm here.
yeah, see. All right. The secretary will proceed with the reference of business.
Reference of business, bills on first reading. Senate number 1812, entitled An Act Extending the Availability of the 2020 Appropriations to December 31, 2021, amending for the purpose Section 60 of the General Provisions of Republic Act number 11465, the General Appropriations Act of Fiscal Year 2020, introduced by Senator Marcos.
The Committee on Rules.
Senate number 1813, an act separating the Datu Danwata Elementary School Agigik Extension in Sitio Agigik, Barangay Datu Danwata, Municipality of Malita, Province of Davao Occidental, from the Datu Danwata Elementary School, converting it into an independent elementary school to be known as Agigik Elementary School and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Marcos.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
Senate number 1814, an act separating the Tomas Cabili National High School, Santa Elena Annex, in Barangay Santa Elena, Iligan City, from the Tomas Cabili National High School, converting it into an independent national high school to be known as Santa Elena National High School, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Rules.
Senate number 1815, an act establishing a national high school in Barangay Bakungan, Magsaysay, province of Davao del Sur, to be known as the Bakungan National High School, and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Rules.
Senate number 1816, an act establishing a national high school in Barangay Cabuaya, City of Mati, province of Davao Oriental, to be known as the Cabuaya National High School, and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Rules.
Senate number 1817, an act establishing a 10-bed capacity community hospital in Barangay Lamidan in the municipality of Don Marcelino, province of Davao Occidental, to be known as Lamidan Community Hospital, and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Rules.
Senate number 1818, an act mandating public officials and employees to annually submit a medical certificate showing fitness to work and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Soto III.
Referred to the Committee on Civil Service.
Senate number 1819, an act providing for the national energy policy and framework for the development and regulation of the Philippine midstream natural gas industry and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Energy and Finance.
Resolution, PS Resolution number 519, titled Resolution Expressing the Profound Sympathy and Sincere Condolences of the Senate of the Philippines on the death of Maria Azucena Vera Perez Maceda, popularly known as Manay Ichu, beloved matriarch of the Philippine film industry, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Archives. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, we have two items on our agenda, but with the permission of Senator Villar and Senator Pangilinan, who's up for interpellations on her bill, if it's all right with the body, I move that we take up just a quick sponsorship of Senate Bill number 1810 by another colleague of ours, Mr. President. So I move to resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1810. This is the Freelancers Protection Act, Mr. President. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order.
May we recognize, Mr. President, to co-sponsor the measure, Senator Christopher Bongo.
Senator Super Bongo is recognized.
Mr. President, it is my privilege to co-sponsor this measure, as this will ensure that the protection given by the law to freelancers are up to par with that of employees. Freelancing is a viable way of earning a living, especially in a time of crisis like this. And it is about time that the law recognized the importance of the industry and the necessity of ensuring that our freelancers will not be abused. Madaming mga kumpanya na ang nagsara at madami na po sa mga kababayan natin ay nahirapan kumita ngayon. Ang tanging paraan lang nila upang kumita ay ang pag-freelance. This is the least we could do to make sure their rights and well-being are protected. Even outside of a time of crisis, freelancing has been emerging as an alternative to the traditional employer-employee work model. A lot of our workforce prefer to do their work on their own terms. And just as the law was written to protect the employees back then, the law must now recognize this emerging way of earning a living. Hindi dapat matali sa lumang sistema ang pagtingin ng batas sa pagkita ng pera. As the society evolves, so must our laws. For these reasons, I applaud the good sponsor, Senator Joel Villanueva, and our colleagues here in the Senate for pushing for this important measure. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Bong. Thank you.
With that, Mr. President, again, to allow our colleagues to study the measure further, we move to suspend consideration of the measure.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of the measure is suspended.
I just want to ask the good sponsor, Mr. President, Senator Joel Villanueva, after the coconut levy or cocoa fund of Senator Villar, would he be ready, Mr. President, to defend the measure as well, to accept interpellations?
We were told, Mr. President, it's up for next week, so it's okay. Maybe we'll do it next week.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
you.
President, for the reply of
Mr.
Senator
President.
Villanueva. And with that, Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1396 under Committee Report number 65. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
May we recognize, Mr. President, Senator Villar, although her video is off, and Senator Kiko.
No. I'm on.
Okay, Mr. President, may we recognize the sponsor and to continue the interpellation, I believe Senator Risa Ontiveros is going to interpellate this time,
Yeah.
Mr. President. May we recognize Senator Risa Ontiveros.
All right, the sponsor, Senator Cynthia Villar, is recognized, and to Senator Ontiveros.
Thank you,
Mr. President.
Mr. Senate President and Mr. Majority Floor Leader. And I wish to acknowledge Senator Risa Hontiveros.
Thank you, good sponsor. Mari po ba akong magtanong sa inyo ng ilang mga tanong about our bill? Thank you so much. Madam Chair, meron po ba tayong data sa impacts ng COVID-19 pandemic sa coconut industry?
All I know is that they are testing now the coconut as a cure for
Yes.
the COVID-19 pandemic
Mhm.
because it's a healthy food and yung kanyang oil yata is good for pandemic. But just like any other industry in agriculture, they are, except for their marketing, I think they are not affected by pandemic because they are doing it in the countryside and they're doing it in a place where there is really physical distancing because a typical farm of a poor farmer in the Philippines is 1 hectare. So if it's doing it alone or with some people, that really promotes physical distancing. Even in our farm school here in Metro Manila, in Las Piñas, we don't have any problem of pandemic because the people are continuing their work and they are not affected because they are there is really physical distancing in that kind of situation.
Actually, a good sponsor, babalikan ko yung point about coconut in relation to possible cures for COVID-19 later. Pero still in that general question of the impacts of the pandemic on the industry, nagkaroon po ba ng impact ang COVID sa kita ng mga magnunyog? And I ask this good sponsor because the biggest organization of small coconut farmers in Quezon, ang pangalan po niya ay Kaakbay Quezon, nagtanong na po sila nung Abril, itong 2020, para sa portion ng cocoa levy para gamitin, para magbigay ng assistance sa higit na 20 million coconut farmers. So impact po sa kita ng magnunyog, meron po ba?
Without even mentioning it, since the coconut farmers are the poorest people in the Philippines, I think included
Yes.
na agad sila dun sa social amelioration program, di ba? And then yung Department of Agriculture, meron din silang mga program na ganyan. And the Department of Agriculture doesn't only take care of the other farmers, they take care of all the farmers in the Philippines. So I'm sure meron sila doon. Kasi nakita nyo naman sa Bayanihan 2, marami ring ibinigay sa Department of Agriculture, 24 billion. No? I am not familiar on how much was given during the Bayanihan 1. Maybe we can ask Senator Angara what was given in Bayanihan 1 to the Department of Agriculture.
But of course,
I'm sure
a
lang
good
yung 24
sponsor.
billion
Yes.
sa Bayanihan 2. But Bayanihan 1, I'm curious, how much ba binigay sa Department of Agriculture? It's more than 10 billion, I think. 7
I'll
billion?
confirm. Yes, good sponsor. I'll just confirm that with the good chair of the Senate Finance Committee. Pero siguro po very probable din na dahil nga as the good sponsor said, ang mga maliliit na magnyunyog ay kabilang sa pinakamahirap na mga Pilipino na kulang pa rin kung meron sa sektor nila nakatanggap ng SAP or kahit yung ayuda pa ng DA. Kaya po nagtatanong yung Kaakbay Quezon ng portion ng cocoa levy. And speaking, Madam Chair, of my first question about data, does the trust fund in the bill does the trust fund contemplate an allocation for research and development?
Yes, I think when it comes to that hybrid seeds, kasi bago yung hybrid seeds na hybrid seedlings ng coconut, and PCA is mandated to do that. They have to produce these hybrid seedlings because we want them to plant and replant hybrid seedlings instead of the one they're doing now, because it will triple the harvest of the coconut tree. So yung lahat ng mga senile na coconut tree dapat palitan na ng hybrid seedlings para tumaas ang kita ng mga coconut farmer automatic, kasi it's 3 times 40 nut per tree per year to 150 nuts per tree per year. So automatic na yon. Palitan lang yung itatanim na coconut.
Well, indeed, good sponsor. Nakikita ko po dito sa current committee report na mayroong allocation of 10% para sa development of hybrid coconut seed farms and nurseries.
Yeah.
Bagamat, wala po akong nakikitang allocation for research and development, more
They're doing
broadly
it now,
speaking. They're doing it
They're
now.
doing it now. They're doing it
Also-
now, except
Yes.
that they are not giving it to the farmers. Kaya minamandate natin doon sa bill that they have to give these hybrid seedlings to the farmers. Kasi ngayon, siyempre maraming chismis kung saan nila dinadala yung hybrid seedlings, but I don't want to belabor on that. So
Opo.
let's put it in the law so that they will do it.
Well, at least just for the record, good sponsor, sa current committee report, ito po yung mga allocations na nahahanap natin.
Yeah.
Take 10%, no? Shared facilities for processing, farm improvement through diversification, yun nga pong development of hybrid coconut seed farms and nurseries, empowerment of coconut farmer organizations and their cooperatives, scholarship program, health and medical program, credit provision through the DBP and land bank, infrastructure development, training of farmers in farm schools, and planting and replanting. So, but strictly speaking, wala pong allocation for research and development. At dito, bumabalik po ako sa unang pinag-usapan natin, good sponsor, also about coconut in relation to the search for cures for COVID-19. Kaya ako po tinatanong ito dahil sinisimulan na nga daw po yung trials on VCO, virgin coconut oil, as an alternative treatment for COVID-19. Halimbawa na lang po sa mga pag-aaral ni Dr. Fabian Dairit. This doesn't just give us hope for our serious public health situation, but it could also provide an economic boost to our farmers. So ang tanong ko po, would the chair agree at the proper time to accept an amendment carving out an explicit allocation for research and development?
That's not it's not something that I won't accept, but I wish to remind you that under the Agricultural Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, that is from the tariff of all agricultural products except rice, there is an allocation there of 10% of the ASEF for research. They only have to apply sa DBM para pondohan sila, and the maximum that will be funded would be 5 million per research. So meron din talagang maraming at every department, like I'm not preventing, because this Coco Levy fund is for the farmers, but there is also a regular budget for PCA, and in that budget there is plenty of research there, I'm sure. Kasi alam mo, yung ating mga department sa agriculture, mga agency, ang hilig nila sa research. Ang atin lang complain is they research but they don't apply the research to improve the lives of farmers. Kaya itong mga fund na ganito, tinatanggal na natin na research kasi may budget naman na yung department talaga eh. This is in addition. They really have a yearly budget for PCA. They have a really yearly budget for DA, all sectors. Meron silang budget, hindi naman. Gusto ko lang yung ating ginagawang mga fund, idiretso na natin sa mga farmers ang benefit. habang na yung agency ang gumawa ng research. Kasi pag nilagay pa natin ang research dito, puro research yan, hindi baling maraming research. But ina-apply ba nila ang research? Like, kaya kami nag-aaway ng Philippine Rice Research Institute. Through the years, they have been in existence for 28 years ba? 25 years.
Yung IRI.
Wala naman silang in-apply sa lives ng coconut farmer. Ngayon lang nagka-RCEP, sila namimigay nung inbred seed nila na yun ang ginawa nila for 25 years. Ngayon lang sila namimigay sa mga coconut farmers. Kaya gusto ko sana dito, yung research gawin ng PCA and then yung pamimigay dito sa Coco Levy Fund, mamigay sila nung hybrid seeds na yun kasi that hybrid seeds will increase the income of our poor farmers. Parang this is an application of what they do in the department. Oo. This is an application kasi ang kulang sa atin yung application sa lives ng mga ordinary farmer. Yun ang kulang-kulang. I have been with the Department of Agriculture for 7 years. I have been chairman of the Agriculture Committee for 7 years. Kulang na kulang sa implementation. Napakadaming research, napakaraming kung ano-anong ginagawa. Ang wala ay yung implementation which will improve the lives of our poor farmers.
I appreciate yung sinabi ng good sponsor about there being a research item, halimbawa dun sa ASEF. At the same time also po, for the
Sa
record,
PCA,
and sa PCA, kahit po si Jess Aranza, yung chair ng Coconut Oil Refiners Association, ay nagsabing a portion of the Coco Levy Fund should be used for, in particular, VCO research. So, sa ngayon, good
I
sponsor,
just
Mr.
want you to
President.
be specific kasi
Yes,
ayoko nung...
I will at the proper time present
Alam mo,
a proposed amendment.
may isa pa ako experience dyan sa research sa state universities and colleges. A cooperative in Antipolo City complained to me because they want yung research ng banana ba yung plant nila na based in Los Baños to explain why that happened to them. They were given 500,000 pesos by the Rotary Club of Rotary Club of San Lorenzo to buy seedlings. So syempre naman sila, cooperative, pumunta sila sa Los Baños at bumili sila ng seedlings doon kasi naandun yung research ng banana seedlings. Alam mo nangyari sa kanila, bumili sila, ni-refer sila doon sa in charge ng research, doon sa kanyang kumpanya at doon sila bibili. So bumili sila doon, hindi nabuhay yung mga seedlings. Nung nagko-complain na sila, nawala na yung kumpanya. Nagbago na ng kumpanya. Yung head ng research, may bago na siyang kumpanya. So they cannot complain about their lost 500,000. I wrote UP Los Baños to explain kasi they're complaining to me. They have not explained up to now. Kaya may bad experience ako talaga Oo, dyan sa mga pure research na yan Minsan hindi ko na lang ako nakibo pero hindi ko maintindihan what's happening. Chismis niya nga dyan sa hybrid, binibenta sa Indonesia yung hybrid na pinoproduce nila instead of giving it to our farmers, diba? Kaya nga, I'm very specific in this law that they have to give it to our local farmers.
Good sponsor.
Merong ganyang practice sila and I hope we can stop that kasi alam mo, maganda naman yung budget na binibigay natin. Ang may problema yung implementation of the budget. Kaya dapat sa law natin, very specific tayo. Para pag hindi nila ginawa, we can file a case against them. Dapat legal. Kasi hindi nila ginagawa.
Yes, good sponsor. I'll certainly, at the proper time, propose a very specific proposed amendment. At sa ngayon, Mr. President, sapat na po sa akin yung sinabi ng good sponsor na it's not a proposed amendment that she would not accept outright. So I look forward to that at the proper time, Mr. President. Good sponsor, bagamat itong susunod na tanong ko ay naitanong na rin kahapon ni Senator Kiko, pagbigyan niyo po sana akong ulitin ito since I have been also asking this of the good sponsor since our 2016 discussions. So Madam Chair, sa veto message po ng Presidente noong February 2019, sabi nila na the Coco Levy Trust Fund could, quote, disproportionately benefit wealthy coconut farm owners, close quote. Dahil wala nga daw pong prescribed limit on the land area entitled to benefits. I actually agree with this point in the veto message dahil consistently ko nga pong ina-advocate na i-refine yung definition ng coconut farmer para ilimita ito sa mga may-ari ng coconut land holdings na may total maximum area of 5 hectares. So noting that the veto message of the President supported this view, will the good sponsor be amenable at the proper time to an amendment that will
I
provide
told,
a prescribed limit on the land holding size in order to entitle a coconut farmer to benefits?
I told Senator Pangilinan I will accept the amendment of the
Salamat po.
definition of a coconut farmer.
Thank you, good sponsor. It's great to hear that again from you. Next po, Madam Chair. Is my understanding correct that under this committee report, it is the PCA that shall have the power to approve disbursements from the trust fund? So tinitingnan ko po dito yung Section 9, utilization of the trust fund. So this will be done through the PCA board? Tama po ba yun, Madam
Yes,
Sponsor?
the PCA board, which
Okay po.
will be composed of the Secretary of the Department of Agriculture, Secretary of Finance, Secretary of DBM, Secretary of DOST, Secretary of the DTI, Administrator of the Authority, and 3 members from the coconut farmer sector.
Precisely, good sponsor. My concern is precisely that, na sa kabuuan pong 9 na miyembro ng o proposed composition ng PCA board, 3 lang ang small coconut farmer or coconut farmer representatives. Tig-isa po sa island groupings, tapos 6 na government agencies. Pero maalala po nating lahat na nung nakaraang kongreso, yung ating Senate Committee report actually provided for 6 farmer representatives, tigalawa sa bawat island group sa Coconut Farmers and Industry Trust Committee. Yung committee noon na mag-a-approve dapat ng disbursements. And my concern, Madam Chair, is that parang nalusaw yung representation ng mga magnunyog when the 2012 Supreme Court decision on the 24% of the SME shares was clear that the coconut farmers are the true owners of the fund. So, ang huling tanong ko po, Madam Chair, sponsor, ay would the chair be amenable at the proper time to bring back the Coconut Farmers Trust Fund Committee with strong representation of coconut farmers, especially small coconut farmers, Mr.
The
President?
President is very specific on this. This is one of the reasons for the veto.
Mm.
He wants a control that will be audited, ganyan. In this, he's very specific that there should be control procedure on the use of the Coco Levy Fund. So sila ang nag-specify nito. If we don't give into them, then that might be a cause for another veto. Ako naman, kung yun namang hinihiling nila ay acceptable sa atin, wag na nating i-risk ang veto. Kasi kawawa naman yung mga coconut farmers. Ako gusto ko lang mapasa na to kasi malaking bagay sa kanila yung pera na yan, na mabigay na sa kanila. As long as binibito to, hindi makakarating sa coconut farmer yung 105 billion na yan. Diba? And that's big amount of money. Yun lang interest niyan would be enough to give a good life to our coconut farmers.
Sang-ayon po ako sa good sponsor na dapat maibigay na ito sa wakas ulit sa maliliit na magnyunyog at sa coconut industry. I also feel though na yung issue sana ng control ay mas mapasakamay pa sa small coconut farmers. Pero kung sa tingin ng good sponsor ay hindi nila matatanggap yung tungkol sa unang tanong ko, what about at least at the proper time to increase the representation of the coconut farmers? Good sponsor.
Sinabi na nila they want 9. Ayaw nila nung dati kasi 12, di ba? 12 ba yun? 11.
11.
Gusto nila to eh. And pinili nila yung department eh. Kasi yung DOF will be and DBM will be in charge of the finance, and then DA of course with the other projects that will help the coconut farmers. Yung DOST would be very good for processing, which is additional income to the coconut farmers. And DTI would help in marketing. So may reason kaya pinili to eh. Oo. So I think there is a good reason. I don't know what you think, but ako, parang palagi ko sinasabi to everybody, the senators, kung mga bagay na tingin naman natin reasonable, pabayaan na natin na mapasa na lang to. Kasi I don't think naman tong anim na to will be so irresponsible as not to care for the welfare of the coconut farmers. What do they have to gain?
Fair enough, good sponsor. Tingin ko naman nagpe-presume tayo ng regularity, yung responsibility, yung pagmamalasakit para sa maliliit na magnyunyog. Mas ina-approach ko po mula sa punto na yung representation and decision making po talaga ng maliliit na magnyunyog. Kasi minority na sila dito, tapos sa pagkaintindi ko ay non-voting pa. Sana po kung mas marami sila sa body na iyon at may voting rights. In any
Pero
case,
I think
Madam
what is
Chair. Yes, Madam
important
Chair.
here is where will the money go? Tayo naglagay sa batas where the money will go. And they cannot afford not to follow that because that's illegal. That is what is important. What is written in the law, where the money will go. They will just have to follow that.
Salamat, Madam
That
Chair.
is the most important. Oo. Because I think we know as legislators and me as a businesswoman and as a finance person and a senator for a long time and a congresswoman for a long time, yung pagpili nitong where the money will go, I think we are in a better position to see what they need. Sometimes they're blinded eh. Mas nakikita natin yung pangangailangan nila and what will bring their lives, what will make their lives better. I think this is a very good choice.
Well, I just wanted to place that on record, Madam Chair, in the spirit of naniniwala tayo na mas lalo sanang mapapaganda yung paggamit ng pondo para sa magnyunyog at para sa industriya kung kilalanin din natin yung kontribusyon na alam, kasanayan, orientasyon na pwedeng iambag ng maliliit na magnyunyog ka-partner ng mga government secretaries natin para sa mga layunin natin. So I just wanted to place on record, Madam Chair, that on this point of the composition of the body, that the small coconut farmers do not support this. Pero maraming salamat pa rin po, Madam Chair, Mr.
Senator,
President.
I don't believe the small coconut farmers will be the elected representative. You know naman how this election goes, di ba? Ang mai-elect dyan yung mga big ones din.
That makes me even sadder, Madam Sponsor.
It's really sad. I know, but from experience, I've seen them all.
Yun na nga po, Madam Sponsor. Kaya nga po, lalong nakalulungkot kung hindi mapagbibigyan yung hiling nila na bukod sa siguraduhin yung small talaga, 5 hectares and below coconut landowners ang papasok na 3 na lang na farmer representatives sa body, ay minority pa sila in number tapos non-voting pa. So I'm just very sad to have to end this interpellation on that note, Madam Chair. Pero maraming salamat po sa pagpapaunlak niyo sa mga tanong ko. At maraming salamat din, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Senator Risa. And there are things kasi that we want to do, but it doesn't happen that way in the real life.
All right. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, Mr. President, I believe we have a resolution by our distinguished colleague from Zambales. It's a very timely resolution as well. I move, Mr. President, to consider yes, resolution number. I'm sorry. Before we do that, I'd like to suspend. Yes, my apologies, Mr. President. Before we do that, I'd like to suspend consideration of Senate Bill number 1396.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we consider Senate Resolution number 521 and request the Secretary to read the title of the measure. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order. Mr. Secretary will read the
Resolution honoring and remembering the illustrious life and exemplary contributions for public service for the province of Camarines Sur and for the nation of former Speaker of the House Arnulfo Noli Palma Fuentebella.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I believe to sponsor the measures, the distinguished gentleman from Zambales, may we recognize our colleague, Senator Richard Dick Gordon.
Senator Richard Gordon, gentleman from Zambales, is recognized to sponsor the resolution.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Once again, with a very heavy heart, we sponsor a resolution of sympathy and condolence. I'm sure most of us know our good friend, Speaker Arnulfo Noli Fuentebella of Camarines Sur, once upon a time Speaker of the House, who served in the House for about 21 years as a congressman, Mr. President. He was a colleague, he was a friend, and a contemporary, not only of myself, but I'm sure Frank Dillon, he was ahead of me in law school, but we all knew him. But certainly, Nolly was known to many people in the law school, in our law school in UP, and from there he graduated to being a very stalwart member of the Camarines Sur family, becoming congressman for the first time in, I believe, in 1992 to 2001, and all the way down to the present, Mr. President. As Speaker of the House, where he was once elected to, he graduated to, from there he went to become Deputy Speaker on the 14th and 15th Congress, and later served on as Assemblyman in the interim Batas of Bansa for the years 1978 to 1984. He was the chairman of the House Committee on Energy, and he steered the passage of the APIRA bill, the Landmark Electric Power Industry Reform Act, or APIRA, hailed as a pro-market reform that is strategic to the goal of providing reliable and competitively priced electricity in the country. He also made sure that his province or his district was well cared for, sponsoring bills that created the Partido Development Administration in his district. There were twice he was first elected as 4th district and then later on 3rd district because they had to split the provinces in half. To show you how strong his commitment to serving and becoming a worthwhile leader of this country as early as when he was 15. He was brought by the Boy Scouts of the Philippines to the United States, where a representative of the Boy Scouts of the Philippines, and where he got a Life Scout Award from the Boy Scout movement. You know, we tend to poo-poo, or rather, we tend to ignore the Boy Scouts in our country, but certainly I was a Boy Scout myself. I'm sure many of us are. I'm sure that has gone a long way in seeing Noli Fuentebella through his senior years. Mr. President, he was a good father, and his example of leadership and public service will continue on to his family. His children are congressmen. Daughter Mayor Mayor Chiki Fuentebella is a mayor, and also Wimpy Fuentebella is also working with the Department of Energy, and certainly Army Fuentebella is a congressman at the present time, and another his wife, I believe, was mayor before, and certainly another son is a mayor in one of the towns in Camarines Sur. Mr. President, I thought that it would be good because he was a member of the House that we all try to see this resolution through. We wanted to express our deepest condolences and certainly a thank you for his friendship and his very affable character, and certainly to commiserate with his wonderful family, a big family at that, as he moves on to rest with our Lord in heaven. Having said that, Mr. President, I hope that we would all unanimously approve this resolution. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
All right. Majority Leader, with the permission of the distinguished gentleman from Zambales, I would like to be made the co-author of the resolution. I was also informed by Senator Tolentino that he wishes to be.
Yes.
Let me just place the record that presently there are already 3 congressmen or members of the House of Representatives who have passed away. The first was Congressman Jun Datol of the Senior Citizens Party list. The second was Congresswoman Dita
Peace.
Ramos of the Nationalist People's Coalition, my political party, together with Senator Gatchalian and Senator Lapid, and our guest member, Senator Grace Poe. And then now is Senator or Congressman or former Speaker Noli Ventabella, who is also another NPC member, Mr. President. So we would like to be a co-author, and we sympathize and condole with the family of Congressman Ventabella. Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, possibly, Mr. President, Senator Drilon would like to be recognized, but before that, with the permission of Senator Drilon, can I just move, Mr. President, with the permission of the body, that the whole Senate, all members of the Senate, be made the co-author of the measure, Mr. President, with the permission of Senator Gordon.
Of course, Mr. President, I already mentioned that in my speech that I think we unanimously approve this resolution.
So with that, Mr. President, we thank Senator Gordon. We'd like to recognize Senator Frank Drilon, please. Mr.
Senator
President.
Frank Drilon is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. Yes, I ask for the floor for an opportunity to be able to join Senator Gordon in his sponsorship of this resolution. Noli was more than a congressman to us. He is related to Mrs. Drilon, both coming from Camarines Sur, and although they live in, they come from different towns. My wife is from San Jose, Noli is from Tigaon, and our families were very close. It is therefore with shock when I heard this morning about his departure. I have known him for years, and we call each other primo as a sign of our relationship with each other. So it is with deep sorrow that we are informed of this demise of our good friend. He was my contemporary in law school. If I'm not mistaken, he's class of 1970 or 71.
70.
1970, class of 1970. And therefore, he was a former Speaker of the House. And it is with deep loss, it is with deep sadness that we are informed of his passing. We extend our deepest condolences to his family, who we know as a family friend. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for this opportunity to be a co-sponsor to the measure.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, before we recognize Senator Revilla and Senator Marcos, may I just add to that? The reason why I'm also related to Senator Frank Drilon is because of his Speaker of the House, which is Tita Mila. And I'm also related to Tita Evelyn. Tita Evelyn is the cousin of my mom. And that's why all three are related to my family. On my mother's side, sa Calleja side, from Bicol. And so it saddens me that my good primos, my cousins, Wimpy and Arnie Fontabella, lost their father who they love very, very much. And I'm actually texting with the son right now, letting him know that we are honoring his father through unanimously approved Senate resolution. And he thanks Senator Gordon and all the members for this resolution. So truly, he lived a remarkable life. He was the Speaker of the House of Representatives. He was known also as the chair of the Energy Committee in the House for a long time. Was also a contemporary of my father in the earlier Congresses, Mr. President. So he did live a colorful political life, and his children are a testimony to his good leadership, not only in the district, but also to his family. Mr. President, may we recognize Senator Bong Revilla as well as after which Senator Amy Marcos, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Revilla is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Talagang nakakalungkot po ang nangyayari sa ating bansa ngayon at umaga sa sobrang daming namamatay. I joined Senator Gordon. May I extend my deepest condolences and sympathies to the Puentabellas of Camarines Sur on the passing of a fellow legislator and public servant, former House Speaker Nulfo Noli Puentabella. Former Speaker Puentabella represented the people of Camarines Sur in Congress for many years, beginning in the interim Batasang Pambansa from 1978 to 1984. He continued to serve in the chamber until the 17th Congress to represent the 4th District of Camarines Sur. Clearly, he loved by his kababayans, and his service is well appreciated by his constituency. Very few people get the wide support and earn the respect of these fellow legislators to be elected to the highest position in the House of Representatives. Congress Puentabella is one of those people who served as House Speaker from 2000 to 2001. Mr. President, during the previous Congresses, Congressman Puentabella advanced several landmark legislations and programs like the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act, the Preservation and Management of Protected Areas, creation of National Commission of Senior Citizens, and the most noteworthy is the EPIRA that earned him the respect and regard of the industry as the father of prime mover of the power industry's deregulation and restructuring. On this day, we remember the life and honor the work of our fellow legislator who devoted almost 3 decades of his life in Congress. Again, our condolences to the bereaved family and to the people of Camarines Sur who lost a good public servant. Thank you, Mr. President.
May we recognize Senator Amy Marcos as well, Mr. President.
Sorry.
Mr. President, I join our colleagues in expressing our deepest and profound sympathies to the Puentabella family, Mr. President. I would like to also pay my respects to one of the fathers of the EPIRA, the law that deregulated the power industry and opened it up to the private sector for investments, Mr. President. And being the chairman of the Energy Committee, I would always refer to him with issues on energy, issues on power, and especially issues on the EPIRA itself when we encounter a lot of interpretation issues. He knows the power sector very well. He knows the EPIRA law very, very well. And he contributed a lot to the Energy Committee in its activities, Mr. President. I'm also very good friends of former Congressman Wimpy Puentabella. Senator Joel Villanueva and I and Yusek Wimpy were colleagues during the 12th Congress. We were neophyte congressmen. In fact, we were the youngest at that time. I think I was 27, Joel was 26, Wimpy was 26 at that time, Mr. President. And hindi lang ho kami magkakasama sa Kongreso, naging magbarkada pa ho kami hanggang ngayon. At nagkita-kita ho kami si Wimpy sa Department of Energy, kami ni Joel dito sa Senado. So ako po ay nakikiramay po sa pamilya Puentabella, isa po sa mga matatag na haligi ng ating bansa, isang haligi po ng politika ng ating bansa, at nakikiramay po ako sa kanilang pamilya.
Senator Amy Marcos is recognized.
Yes, thank you very much. And I thank Senator Gordon for allowing me to join in this resolution, extending our condolences and prayers to the family of Noli Puentabella, treasured and invaluable second-generation ally of my family. His father was a close friend and appropriations head of my father during their time in the legislature. He was also not only my speaker in the troubled and tumultuous 11th Congress. Finally, of course, is my beloved and unforgettable personal friend who will be sorely missed. Thank you very much.
Majority Leader.
May we recognize Senator Cynthia Villar, Mr. President.
Senator Cynthia Villar is recognized.
I want to express my condolences to the family of Congressman Pantabella. You know, when I was in Congress, before I became a congresswoman, I was president of the Congressional Spouses Foundation. So I know all the wives of the congressman, and we traveled together. And then when I became a congresswoman, I became the president for 9 years of the lady legislators of the 12th, 13th, and 14th Congress. And I have met this family, and my deepest condolence to Evelyn, the wife, and sana they will be guided by God in this time of very lonely time, this very lonely time. So yun lang po, and I want to be a co-author of the resolution expressing our condolence to Congressman Noli Fuentabella and former Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, before we act on the motion, Senator, may I recognize both Senator Gordon, who raised his hand first, and then Senator Reese after.
Senator Gordon is recognized.
Mr. President, I wrote in the resolution that we should furnish a copy to the family, as well as the House of Representatives, Mr. President. There are colleagues and also the province of Camarines Sur. So that they would know the sentiments of the Senate that Bicolano was held in high esteem and that he had many friends in the Senate, Mr. President, including Senator Dudon and, of course, myself. And you all heard the others who are children, the children are friends of our colleagues here as well. So I just want to add that. And finally, Mr. President, maybe you may want to have a resolution in favor of those other Congresswoman Ramos, as well as Congresswoman Datol, as condolences lang, Mr. President, because I didn't really know them, but it would be nice as a gesture of solidarity with the Congress that we also extend our feelings of sympathy and commiseration on their passing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator De Veros.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was fortunate to have served in the House of Representatives during one of the Congresses when former Rep. Noli was one of our senior deputy speakers. And he really made such a strong impression on my mind as a young legislator. Every time he would be our presiding officer, I would feel like it was one of the senior statesmen of a bygone era who was presiding over our session. And now I cannot help but feel that with his death, it is also part of the passing of an era. I join all of you, dear colleagues, in expressing our House's deepest condolences to his family, especially, of course, to his wife and all of his children, including Rep. Rimpi. Salamat po, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, Senator Villanueva, please, Mr. President, may we recognize you.
Senator Villanueva is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President, Majority Leader. Thank you. Let me just associate myself to the feelings of our colleagues in expressing our deepest condolences to the family of Fuentabella. I was also given the opportunity to work with the former Speaker of the House. As a colleague, I was given a chance to visit his place in Kamsur as a 25-year-old congressman, together with Congressman Winpy Fuentabella, and I had the chance to learn a lot of things from former Speaker Noli Fendibella. So I would just like to put on record, Mr. President, that I join our colleagues, this entire chamber in the morning for the loss of a great leader, a great Filipino that we can all emulate. Thank you, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. And lastly, on my part, Mr. President, Senator Risa is absolutely correct. When he would preside, it was a joy to watch. Everybody would actually stop and listen to him because he would not even ask the majority leader on the rules. He was an expert on the rules, Mr. President. If you stood up there and made the wrong motion, he will correct you and explain why he corrected you through his memory of the rules. That was an amazing feat. Usually when the speaker would always pass it to the majority leader would have to quote the rules. He memorized the rules, Mr. President. He was amazing when it came to his leadership qualities as a speaker. And so he'd be sorely missed. We were in the opposite camp. We were the Spice Boys at that time, and we were constantly harassing him. That's why if you did not do your homework and you stood up there and made a particular motion that was not the right motion, he will put you back to your seat with your tail between your legs. And that was the kind of leader. But he did it without insulting you. It was a way of teaching you, of giving you the proper lesson on what are the rules of the floor, rules of Congress. So again, we will be sorely missed. He made an impact to us, young legislators. And with that, Mr. President, I move that we adopt Senate Resolution 521, making all members of the Senate as co-authors. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. And with just a gentle reminder to our colleagues for their priority measures, on Monday, we'll start with a new week. I was hoping that maybe Senator Pia Cayetano can also start discussions on CREATE, as well as the other measures, priority measures by our colleagues. Ma'am Grace, Mr. President would like to be recognized.
Yes, since you're in reminding our colleagues, I'd also like to request our colleagues, if you have any amendments for the FISC bill, to please submit by tomorrow. I think this is already relayed to your chief of staff, so that we can move forward in the bill and start with the sponsorship. Thank you, Mr. President, Majority Leader.
Yes, because of the uniqueness of the situation, Mr. President, we have to sometimes make an appeal online to our colleagues. On usual normal days, we would just huddle with the senators and ask them for their amendments. But this case, we have to reach out to our colleagues across the borders and across the internet. So just a gentle reminder, Mr. President, and maybe also a reminder to Chairman Pia, baka we can start CREATE already, as mentioned today again by the DBCC, that they were pushing for certain economic measures that they would like to see out soon. This is all before the budget hearing will start. I mean, we'll get in the heat of the budget, and we're going to be drowned out by the budget, of course, defense of the budget or the interpellations on the budget. So just a gentle reminder to our colleagues, Mr. President. With that, Mr. President, Senator Pia is there on the line. Madam Pia, Ma'am
Yes.
Pia, will you be,
I heard
Mr.
you. I heard
President?
you.
Yeah, we're okay for
heard
Monday.
you.
I can put you on.
Yeah, I want to do it. I as I mentioned to you, MFL, I told you I wanted to update our colleagues also. In the for ease of moving forward, I wanted to try to incorporate the written amendments that a couple submitted, and it actually amounted to 53 pages, and that's the reason why I wasn't able to defend it this week, because I had to study it. So hopefully ma-digest ko lahat yung 53 pages of amendments within the context of the provisions. No? Hopefully I'll finish that tonight or tomorrow, and then I'll be ready for the amendment by substitution para lahat ng pwede kong ipasok na. And then yung hindi, that's where we can have our friendly debates and discussion on the floor.
Great. Thank you very much for that, Mr. President, so that at least we'll be all guided. We'll all be guided by next week. So with that, Mr. President, I move that we adjourn session until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I'm sorry, rather 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Monday, September 14, 2020. Happy weekend, sir. Happy weekend, everyone.
Akala ko sumubra si All right,
Sorry.
any objection?
Happy
If
everyone.
not, the session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Monday, not tomorrow, September 14th.
Stay safe.
Nice weekend.
Stay safe. Happy weekend. Happy weekend.